Are you suffering from knee arthritis and you're looking for ways to reduce the symptoms as much as possible? If you are, then this video is going to give you 5 things to avoid to make sure your symptoms affect you as little as they possibly can. Hi everybody, my name is Will Harlow and I'm the Over-50s specialist physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today I'm going to be revealing 5 major mistakes that people with knee arthritis make that can make their symptoms worse. Now, before we dive into the topic of today's video, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because you'll be the first to hear about these videos when they come out. Now that that's been said, let's talk about knee arthritis and the 5 mistakes that I commonly see in the clinic. So knee arthritis is possibly the most common condition I treat here. Being a specialist in over-50s, most of our patients have some degree of knee arthritis, and it can sometimes cause symptoms either at the front of the knee or the sides of the knee or the back of the knee. It can stop people from walking well. It can stop people from taking part in their active hobbies. It can even affect things like sleep. It can stop people from getting up and getting moving as fast as possible in the morning. Typically, it gives people 15 to 30 minutes of early morning stiffness, which can be quite unpleasant as well. So we help people with all of those things here at HT Physio. So I would say, with at least 4, maybe 5 people with knee arthritis every single day. So these mistakes that I'm going to reveal today are things I see all the time that I commonly tell people or show people how those problems are making their issue worse. So let's talk about the mistakes that people with knee arthritis make. Now, the first mistake people with knee arthritis make is they reduce their walking distance prematurely. Now, when knee arthritis starts to set in, one of the first symptoms people feel is usually pain and stiffness when they're walking. So it can limit the amount of walking that you can do. And I can understand why people would cut back their distance. If it hurts, then you walk less, and hopefully that helps the pain. Now, the problem is, if you walk less, you lose a lot of the benefits that the walking was giving you in the first place. So you lose the mobility that you get from the knee movement during walking. You lose the strength in your hips and your knee muscles. And then what tends to happen is you'll cut your distance down. That'll be okay for a week or 2, but then this new distance will start to hurt. So what happens next? People cut their distance down again, then they give it a week, but then the new distance starts to hurt, and they keep reducing it until suddenly they're not walking at all. Now, it's far too easy for me to sit here and say, oh, just keep walking through the pain and everything will be okay. That's not what I'm saying at all. You certainly should listen to what your knee's telling you, but you should try your absolute best not to reduce your walking distance until you absolutely need to. Now, if you feel that your knee arthritis is stopping you from walking as far as you'd like, there are lots of things you can do to counteract this, such as strengthening and stretching and all the kinds of things we do for people here. The hands-on treatment, it all helps. And that should help you to keep walking further for longer. But if you keep cutting your walking distance back, it's a slippery slope and it won't be long before your mobility is severely reduced. Now, the second mistake people with knee arthritis make is they're scared to bend their knee. Now, when knee arthritis sets in, what often happens is the knee joint becomes quite stiff. And this happens slowly over time, and it often happens while people don't even notice it. So it's getting stiffer and stiffer over time. And by stiffness, what I mean is they lose the ability to extend the knee, so they can't straighten it, and they lose the ability to fully bend it. Now, because we don't usually fully lock out our knee or fully bend it that much in normal day-to-day life, this can happen before you really notice it's going on. But when it's noticeable and you bend your knee and you think, oh my gosh, I can't bend it anymore, what lots of people do is they just stop. They say, wow, I've lost movement there. It's going to be bad for my knee if I keep bending it, so I just won't bend it. Now, similar to the walking example, if we don't bend the knee, what happens is that stiffness creeps up and up and up and gets worse and worse over time. So if you can only bend your knee to, let's say, 110 degrees now, but you never take it to that point for fear of bending it, soon that's going to be 105 degrees, then 100, then 90. And by the time you get to that kind of level, you're struggling with stairs, you're struggling with walking, and you're struggling getting in and out of chairs. So don't let the stiffness progress to that point. As long as you're doing it in a way that's not comfortable, that's not uncomfortable. For most people, bending the knee with knee arthritis is totally safe. Obviously, if you're not sure, get checked out by a healthcare professional first. But it needs bend, it needs movement in order to lubricate the joint and for the cartilage to remain in good a condition as possible. So keep moving that knee, don't be scared to bend it. Now, the third mistake that people with knee arthritis make, and this is not just people with knee arthritis, is they use their hands and their arms when getting in and out of a chair. Now, it's not just people who are over 50 who do this. People in my generation do it as well, and it's just a habit of laziness, okay? We have chairs nowadays that have arms, so quite often what we'll do is we'll use our arms and we'll push ourselves up, okay? Feels easy to do that because you can push yourself out of the chair, and when you're sitting back down, you put your arms in first and then sit down. Now, the problem is our arms are now doing 50% of the work of our legs, and sit to stand is such a foundational movement that if you're not doing it regularly, the muscles that do that movement become weak incredibly quickly. Now, when I reveal this to people, I say, I've just seen you stand up 2 or 3 times, and every time you use your arms, when they start to, they say, I'm just going to use my legs from now on, it only takes 2 or 3 weeks before their legs feel significantly stronger. So that's a positive thing. This can improve very, very quickly, but you have to be quite strict with yourself and not use those arms. So next time you're getting in and out of a chair, try and minimize the use of your hands as much as possible. In a few weeks' time, this can actually have a significant benefit on the symptoms you feel in your knee with very little other intervention. If we just stop using the hands, it can make a huge difference to the strength in your lower limbs. Now, the fourth mistake that people with knee arthritis commonly make is they think that exercises only need to be targeted at the knee. Now, when I see people who come in with a knee complaint, I will always look at 2 other areas at a minimum. I will look at their ankle and I will look at their hip. Now, both of these areas of the body have a huge influence on what goes on at the knee. If your ankle's not working very well, your knee is going to be taking the brunt. And similarly, if your hip is not working very well, again, your knee is going to be taking the brunt. Now, one of the most important muscle groups for knee health is up in the hips, and it's on the outside of the hip. It's called the gluteal muscle group. It's made up of 3 different muscles, and these control the alignment of the thigh. Now, at the bottom of the thigh, we have our knee. So if the thigh is not aligned properly, the knee is not aligned properly. So if these muscles up at the hip are not pulling their weight, that's going to have huge impact on your knee. So yes, we definitely need to strengthen our thigh muscles, but almost as important, probably equally important, is the muscles on the side of the hip. So exercises that you do to improve your knee arthritis should also have a hip element in them as well. Things like the clam, where you lie on your side and you lift your knee, or lying on your side and you lift that top leg up towards the ceiling. Both of those are great exercises to improve the strength of your hip, and that has a positive impact on the knee. So look wider than just the knee joint when you're choosing exercises to treat the problem. Now, the 5th mistake people make when it comes to their knee arthritis is they neglect the stretching of the calves. Now, I talk about this in lots of videos. I tell this to almost everyone who comes in, but tightness in your calf, which is the muscle at the back of the lower leg, that has a huge impact on your knee, and it will have a massive impact to the symptoms you feel when you have knee arthritis. Now, most people think that the calf is just confined to the lower leg, but the truth is it actually runs up behind the knee and attaches to the thigh bone, okay? So the calf crosses over the back of the knee and attaches to the femur. Now, if the calf becomes tight, which it is for many, many people, that compresses everything between the thigh and the heel. Now, the thing that sits most obviously between those 2 zones is your knee joint. So if you have a tight calf, everything inside the knee is being compressed, and it's got extra pressure on it, and pressure that it just doesn't need. So if you're getting extra pressure on your knee and you already have knee arthritis in there, it's going to make pain and stiffness more likely. So one of the most important tips I give people with knee arthritis to help their symptoms is to stretch the calves. Do that 3 or 4 times a day, and for many, many people, it makes an enormous difference to their symptoms. Anyway, those are the 5 mistakes that people make when they have knee arthritis that makes their symptoms worse than they need to be. Let's just have a recap of what they are. Number 1 is reducing your walking distance prematurely. Number 2 is being scared to bend the knee. Number 3 is using your hands when you're sitting down or standing up from a chair. Number 4 is only treating the knee joint when it comes to knee exercises. And number 5 is allowing calf tightness to go unchecked. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. I really appreciate your time in watching this video, and I would love to hear from you. If you drop a comment below this video, I'd be truly grateful just to get some feedback and see what you think of it. And if you haven't already, please feel free to pick up a copy of my book on Amazon. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and you can find the book using the link in the show notes of today's episode. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next video.